Good day, YouTube. I have a question for you. Are you preparing to be financially successful? I'd like for you to think about that for a moment. You don't have to answer that question to me. It's something for you to think about. I do realize that people define financially success in many different ways. Whether somebody could say, hey, it's $10,000. If I have that, I'm good to go. Other people could say, if I'm debt free, I'm financially successful, or if I have investments. People are going to define that in many different ways. That's a very powerful question for you to think about. I have some notes here. Hopefully the answer is you are preparing to be financially successful, however means necessary for you. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. I am in an Air Force training course today and tomorrow. It has nothing to do with finances. It's more on project management, but a lot of the topics there I could relate directly to finances. Are we preparing to be financially successful? I do think it's good for us when we prepare to be financially successful. That's a good thing. It's being proactive instead of being reactive. Have you ever been in a situation, a negative financial situation, let's call it a pinch or a crunch? I'm sure the answer in most cases is yes. I have as well. And that's how come I became the person that I am today when it comes to finances. And that's how come I began my channel almost 3 years ago, Your Military Money, because I wanted to deal with topics on financial matters. And then I expanded into military issues as well, or military topics, and travel as well. But going back to that financial crunch, that was a negative experience in your life. If you have experienced that, what did you not like about that? Again, that's for you to think about. But what are you going to do, or what are you doing right now, so the next time you have a financial stressor, you are in a better situation? I began my Air Force career by being in financial crunches often, and I was embarrassed. If you've seen any of my other videos, you probably already know that. What do you witness? What do you observe from other people? Positives and negative financial examples that you have seen. Because that's what makes us either improve our financial situation, just watching others, what works for them. For example, successful financial people, what are they doing different or similar to you and to me? What are they doing that you and I aren't doing or are doing? So that's one of the things that I want to talk about. The next thing is, what are your expectations of yourself when it comes to finances? Wow, that's a question that I think you don't have to answer again, but what are your financial expectations as an individual from yourself? That's something that if you're married, your spouse, your husband or your wife can ask, what do I expect from my husband or my wife as well? What do they expect from you? But more importantly, what do you expect about yourself when it comes to your finances? Once you know what you expect, how will you get there? I think it's definitely having a vision of your financial goal or goals or plans. Like I've said before, I like to work hard and play hard as well. I'm going to share with you a very big deal in the next few days when it comes to a financial goal. But I'm going to do that video when I get back to my house, and I want to make sure that my wife is in the video as well. So my next video, not this one, but the next one, we'll talk about that. Are you learning about finances? Now, when I say learning, that could be in a classroom. It doesn't have to be in a classroom. It could be reading a financial article or watching a YouTube video or television from a financial expert, somebody who you look up to. That could be Susie Orman. It could be Dave Ramsey. It could be whoever. It could be your uncle or your aunt who is a financial expert. Are you learning when it comes to finances? And hopefully the answer is yes, and hopefully you never stop learning when it comes to finances, because that's going to make us better financial individuals when we continue to learn. Now, with learning comes, hopefully you have a growth mindset. A growth mindset simply means that you continue to grow, and the opposite of that is a closed mindset. No, I'm not going to do that because I've done this for 30 years or 20 years or 10 years. So hopefully you do have a growth mindset where you can continue to increase your knowledge. What about when it comes to responsibility? What are your financial responsibilities to yourself but also your financial responsibilities to your family, if you do have a family. Is it okay to not always get what we want? In my opinion, the answer is yes. Because sometimes there are things that I want, but I have to wait or I don't have, and that's okay. What about limits? Is it okay to have limits? I think the answer is yes. And it's just nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like, let's say you're having an alcoholic drink. And if you overdo it, it's a negative thing because you're either going to hurt yourself, you're going to pass out, or you can hurt somebody else. So limits are not always a bad thing. Don't think of them as limits, a thing where it just stops you from doing things. It's okay to do things, but sometimes a limit is something to protect you or me. Do you adjust as needed when it comes to your finances? And if the answer is yes, that's great. I think that will definitely lead to financial success. I'm going to leave you with this. I know this topic has been kind of here and there when it comes to being financially successful. And I began by saying that everybody has a different definition of what financially successful means. But here is $1 million question that I'm not going to answer. And if you want to leave a comment at the bottom with any input that you can to this question, you can. The question that I have is, do you think money buys happiness? I'm sure you've heard of that before. It's a question that I'm not going to ask. I'd like to know what you think, what my answer is on that, whether it's yes or no. I definitely have an answer, and it's one of those two, but I'm not going to answer that. So hopefully you are taking the steps to become financially successful. The earlier, the better. Because do you want to be an individual that's probably getting ready to retire or already retired and are financially struggling? Most likely the answer is no. That's not who you want to be. And I wouldn't want that for anybody else as well. But unfortunately, it does happen to certain individuals who maybe haven't been proactive with their finances, or maybe just life, too much life happened to them. It's not that we are better than them or they are better than us, because it's not about that. But, I'll tell you what, finances and being financially successful is something that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. People say, hey, the rich people are bad people. I don't know, because I'm not rich and I'll probably never be rich. I'm rich in health, but I'm financially successful in my opinion so far. But that's what I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I've asked a lot of questions. A lot of those questions are for you to think about. Take care.